that I strongly believe in, and it's I will do today what others won't, so that tomorrow I can do what others can't. Think about that. I will do what others won't. Well, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm out of my comfort zone and making a video, which I'm not real comfortable with, but I'm doing it because it's one of the things that you need to do to be successful in LuLaRoe. And I believe in lead by example. Show your team what you need to do and do it. Well, I can't tell others what to do if I'm not willing to do it. So here I am, making a video. All right, number 6 was set up your social media accounts. All right, and we've got that pretty much covered. Number 7, do all your busy work. Do your busy work now, so that once you get your inventory, and you're going to be very, very busy once you get that, you're going to be just kind of overwhelmed at first, working a lot of long hours, getting that done. So get all your busy work out of the way. And what do I mean by that? Buy all your inventory. Excuse me. The things you'll need for your inventory, like your racks, like your hangers. Set them all up in your room. Figure out where your LuLaRoe room is going to be, where you're going to put everything, where you're going to store everything. Have bins, that you're going to need, your packaging, your shipping station set up. Have that all in order, all set up, all done before you get your inventory. All right, you want to be prepared so that you can just hit the ground running. Once you get your inventory, boom, you want to be ready to go. Okay, number 8, write a business plan. Now, I don't mean great big huge thick binder, the kind that you want to take to the bank or show to a financial investor what you'll need to get a loan. I don't mean that kind of business plan. But what I mean is you want to kind of set your policies and procedures in place. Write down what your return policy is going to be. LuLaRoe just came out with a return policy, basically, that they want all consultants to follow, and they want everybody to be consistent out there. But you want to make sure that you have that in place, set that up. You want to set up what your shipping cost is going to be, for instance. If you're shipping one pair of leggings, if you're shipping an outfit, how much are you going to be charging? How are you going to be shipping it? Is it going to be first class mail? Is it going to be by priority mail? So that you can let your customers know what your shipping policy is and have that all set up in place. All right, number 9. This is one of the most important things that I can advise you to do, is listen to the training calls, watch the webinars, all right, read your emails from LuLaRoe, watch the training videos and the company training calls, watch the QB calls, listen to the QB calls, watch any videos that there are for QBs. There are lots of Facebook groups for QBs out there. There are tons of YouTube videos that you can watch about what to do while you're in the queue. This is one of them, okay? So there's tons and tons of them. There's great leaders out there. Watch and learn from all of them, all right? Listen to the weekly training calls. If you are working, you have a job, you have children, you're not available to watch it live, go back and watch the replays, okay? Find time when the little ones are taking a nap while the kids are at school, or after you get off work. Then watch those training calls and learn, take lots of notes. I'm a strong believer in taking lots and lots of notes. I have so many notebooks, and I refer back to them all the time. Okay, if I'm watching a video on social media training, take lots of notes, refer back to them. Do that with the training calls for LuLaRoe. There are going to be times that you are going to say, I watched a video on that, but I don't remember all the details. Pick up your notebook, go back, find your notes, so that you can remember all the things that kind of overwhelming in the beginning. All right. So number 10. Here we get down to number 10. Know your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you getting into LuLaRoe? You want to write down what drives you. Okay, what is it? Is it money? Is it your family? Is it to provide a better life for your children? Maybe you want to buy a new car. Maybe you want to buy a new home. Maybe you just need an extra $500 a month. Maybe you want to quit your job so you can stay home with your children, raise your family, not have to go to a job every day, put your children in daycare. Maybe you want to be able to go on a family vacation, you know, take your kids to Walt Disney World or Hawaii or on a cruise and have that extra money to be able to do that. Maybe you want to have extra money so that you can afford to put your children in sports and play all the activities, and gosh knows that all costs a lot of money. Kids aren't cheap these days, and I know it. And maybe you want to have that extra money so that you don't have to say no to your children. Sorry, but we just can't afford that. Maybe you want to have the money so that you can help others, whether it's donating to the charities that you want, being able to help people that are less fortunate. Maybe you want to be able to just impact and change the lives of others. Whatever your why is, write it down so that when things get tough, and they will, believe me, sometimes things seem overwhelming and you're going to want to give up. But you want to remember what your why was, why you got started, why you did this. You want to have something that's so strong it motivates you to get up in the morning and keep on going, no matter what. Because things aren't always going to be unicorns and rainbows. They just aren't. In any business, no matter what you start, no matter what kind of business it is, things aren't always going to be perfect. They're not always going to be easy. Are they going to be worth it? Yes. Oh, yes. And if you work hard, you can achieve anything that you want. And I strongly believe that. In fact, I know that. I know that for a fact. I'll tell you my story one of these days. I will tell you that no matter what you want to achieve, you can do it if you persevere and you just don't give up. You can achieve dreams that may seem so out of reach and impossible. But if you work hard, if you're motivated, if you're dedicated, if you have the commitment to not give up, you can achieve those dreams. There are consultants out in LuLaRoe right now who are making over $100,000 a month. Not a year, a month. There are so many consultants that are making more in a month than a lot of people make in a year. Did it happen overnight? No. There are some, though, that in their first week they make back their investment. And that might be one of your goals, make back your initial investment in the first week. Maybe your goal is to, and this can happen, make as much in a month as you're currently making in a year with your job. Maybe your goal is to be able to afford to buy that dream home and pay cash for it. There are consultants out there doing that. There's a top consultant in the company who her bonus checks alone are over $100,000 a month. There's one, and you're not going to believe this. I'm going to even throw her name out there and let you know. Look up Kim Roy Lance. Her bonus checks are over $250,000 a month. She is one of the first people that joined at LuLaRoe. And so she's got a lot of people under her. She trains now all over and helps other people to learn all the things that you need to do to be successful. Now, if anybody would have told her in the very beginning that she would be making checks like that, she wouldn't have believed it. There are so many people out there. There are moms, young moms with little ones, toddlers at home, that are making 10, 20, 30 grand a month. And if you would have told them in the beginning before they started if they'd be making that kind of money, they wouldn't have believed it. But because they worked hard, they didn't quit when things got tough, they persevered and worked through all the tough times, they are making more money now than they ever dreamed possible. And I know that you can. And because I see other people doing it, I know that I'll do it too. I am somebody who doesn't give up, who works hard towards achieving my goals. And I know that when you work hard, you're dedicated, you're committed, you can achieve anything that you want. I'll tell you my story at another time, but how I went from growing up on welfare to becoming a multi-millionaire. Yes, very, very true. I grew up on welfare. My parents had 10 kids, and through the majority of my childhood, my family was on welfare. Welfare, food stamps, Medi-Cal, you name it. And I grew up very, very poor. But I was bound and determined when I had children that my children were going to have a better life than I did. And I worked hard, very, very hard, to make sure that they did. I'll make another video for another day and tell you exactly about my life, my story, and how I achieved the things in life that I wanted to achieve. And I went from that to losing everything. But I'm not a quitter, and I'm not giving up. Real quick, I'll just let you know. I didn't really want to go into this here, but I will. I grew up very, very poor, like I said. Came from unfortunate circumstances. My father kicked me out of the house at 16. Not because I was a bad girl or anything like that. I mean, I didn't smoke, drink, do drugs, anything like that. I believed in God. I went to church. I even had to run away at 16, and I got baptized. Came home a few days later, but it wasn't long after that that my father kicked me out of the house. He didn't believe in God. I did. We had differences. I went to church. I got baptized. Wasn't long after that. Got into a little argument with my father, and he threw me out of the house. So at 16, I was on my own. 16. I went and stayed with a girlfriend for 3 months. Her parents owned this little Jolly Cone restaurant. And at 15 years old, I started working there. And so at 16, I had to drop out of school to support myself. I saved up my money, living with my girlfriend for 3 months. Got my first apartment. My boyfriend's father co-signed for it and for my utilities and everything because I was only 16 years old. And believe me, it wasn't a nice place. I slept with the lights on. If you turn the lights off, the cockroaches came out all over. So I kept the lights on, and I was scared of the dark. I went from living in a family with 10 kids, 5 sisters, we shared a bedroom, to being on my own. I was scared. I slept with the lights on, had bars on the windows. I was terrified. I was. And my boyfriend started spending so much time with me because I didn't want to be alone that eventually his father said, you know, it'd be safer for you. Why don't you move in with us? So I shared a bedroom with his sister. We had separate bedrooms. We weren't married. And at 17, I was 17, he was 18. We got married. So I got married very, very young. 17, I got married. And at 18, I had my first child. I had a son when I was 18. I had my daughter when I was 20. And got divorced at 20. The love of my life, the young man I adored, father of my first 2 children, he started doing drugs and started selling drugs. Yeah, not good. Not how I wanted to raise my children. At 20 years old, I got divorced. So here I was, a young single mother at 20 years old with a newborn baby and a 2-year-old. Scary. Very, very scary. Didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I had to do something, so I got out of that. But I was bound and determined I was not going to be on welfare. I was not going to have my children grow up on welfare. So I got a job and I started working very hard to achieve a better life for me and my children. And I did that. And I got a job at a employment agency as an employment counselor and was trained, and I helped other people get their jobs. And I did such a great job at that after that I became a job developer for a business college, and then I became the director of that. And then from that I advanced on and became the director of a law school. Can you imagine? I did. And then after that, I decided that I wanted a different career. I wanted to be able to spend more time at home with my children. So I decided maybe a career in real estate would be good. So I studied my tush off day and night. Big, huge book. California real estate exam is not easy. Oh my goodness. In fact, a lot of people fail the first time. I studied day and night, and I went and took that exam, and that was an excruciating experience. Oh my God. When I finished that exam, I was soaking wet and just so stressed out. But I passed it with flying colors, and I got my real estate license, Century 21. Okay, I had 3 kids at that time. Oh yeah, later, I left out. I remarried. Guess who? My attorney who represented me in my divorce from my first husband. We didn't start dating or anything after my divorce was over. In fact, he had called me over to talk about my case when I was getting my divorce. And the first thing, and he asked me, so what kind of guys do you like to date? I ain't interested in dating. That's the last thing on my mind. I got 2 young kids that I got to support. I am not interested in another man or dating. But he didn't give up. He was very, very persistent. So we became friends. Later we started dating. And I even moved away. Moved to Las Vegas where my family was. Moved to another state. But he started coming up there like every other weekend to see me. He came up and proposed to me on Christmas, and took me back with him on New Year's, and wasn't long after that we got married. So anyway, oh yeah, probably wondering about the 3rd child. We adopted a baby boy. Yeah. I couldn't have any more kids. I decided, after I had my second one, I had a boy and a girl. Thought I was done. Thought that's perfect. I didn't want to have 10 kids like my mom did. And now it's fertile myrtle. I'm going to tell you a little bit more, too much information, but I got pregnant. Way too easy. I didn't want to have 10 kids. Not me. Not now. I didn't want to do that. 2 is perfect. But then I married someone else, and he had different plans. He wanted a dozen. He wanted his own football team. I was like, are you crazy? But we ended up adopting a baby boy. And so that's how I ended up with 3 children. And he was one of the greatest blessings in my life. Very, very special. Very, very sweet young man. And he just turned 30. He just had his 30th birthday. Yeah. He's a sweetheart. Big, huge teddy bear. So things can change in your life. Absolutely. So anyway, I decided I wanted to stay home and be there for my kids. And my daughter at that time, cheerleading, gymnastics, my oldest son, football, wrestling, my youngest son, baseball, football. Oh my gosh. And I was the room mom. I was the team mom. I was the team mom for their sports teams. I was there in the PTA. I was there part of the DARE program, which if you're not familiar with that, that's the DARE program to staying off drugs. And I was part of everything and very involved in my children's life. So thinking real estate would be a great career, but when do people want to see houses, nights, weekends? I wanted to spend my weekends with my family. So I decided I'll put that career on hold and come back to that later in life. I wanted to focus on being able to be there with my children. So I decided, okay, well, I'll start a home-based business so I can be home with my children but still have a career and have a business, because my focus in life was to provide a better life for my children than what I had. I didn't want them being the child at school that other kids made fun of. And believe me, when I was a child growing up in school, I was the little kid in school that children teased and made fun of. In fact, in 5th grade, I had this little ugly green little polyester outfit, shirt and top that my parents got me. And when I went to school, the little kids called me Little Green Martian. Kids can be cruel. They can be very, very cruel. If you're the little kid with mismatched clothes and look very poor and holes in your shoes, other kids can be bullies and really torment you. I couldn't count the times that I cried myself to sleep at night. Did not want to go to school. I was the little kid that other kids made fun of. So I was bound and determined, when I had kids, I did not want them to be the little kid at school that the bullies and the mean kids made fun of. And I always taught them, you never, ever make fun of other children that are less fortunate than you. Never, ever, ever. But my children, because I worked hard and always made sure it provided for them, they had nice clothes. They had the best of everything. But I made sure that they understood that you don't ever, ever, ever tease or make fun of the ones that are less fortunate than you. Be giving, be generous, and always be kind to others. And that's a whole subject for another time. But this video is going to be way longer, way, way, way longer than I intended it to be. So if you're still here and listening, thank you. So I started a home-based business, doing a balloon business, gift baskets and balloons. And I started that because you could start it fairly inexpensively, and I thought it'd be a lot of fun. And it was. I started with less than $500 and started doing, I took a balloon class on how to make balloon sculptures, how to make the big numbers, and how to do the big bouquets, and how to do the big arches. And I learned how to make amazing things with balloons. And I learned how to buy things really inexpensively and put them in a beautiful gift basket and make it really gorgeous. And I had fun doing that. I was very, very creative. And it took off and became a very successful business. I did big conventions and anniversary parties, and I did a lot of high school reunions. That was always a lot of fun. But I did a big, huge convention one time that I had to bring in my family, my neighbors, my friends, everybody I knew to help me blow up balloons and, put them in these arches and stuff, and everybody had to load them in their vans and everything, and to help me take them to the convention center. And then we blew up more there, and the balloon business overtook my house and overtook my life. And my husband got to a point where he was like, we don't have any family time left or time to go anywhere or do anything with our kids because you have something booked every weekend. And I was like, yeah, that kind of defeated the purpose of having a home-based business if the business is my whole life and I don't have time for my family. So I sold the business. And what I did next was then I wrote a book on how to start your own home-based business, your own gift basket and balloon business for only $500. Typed it all up. It wasn't something you sent to a publishing company or anything like that. Typed it all up, took it to Office Max or Office Depot, one of those, can't remember which. This is over 20 years ago, guys. So had them make it spiral bound, nice cover on it, and had 100 copies of it made. So, and then whenever I was doing the gift baskets and balloons and stuff, of course I took a lot of pictures, and so I put a lot of those pictures in my book also. And I explained in my book about how you can start this business, what your supplies are, what I did, how I learned to do all the balloon sculptures, the different types of accounts that I went after, and how I went and started this with $500, and before I knew it I was making $5,000 a month, then $10,000 a month, all while I was working at home and still being a mom for my kids and being able to cook dinner for them and and get all the things done that a mom has to do. Being a mom, that's a full-time job in itself. And I understand, ladies, what you go through trying to raise kids. It can be hectic and crazy. And then trying to balance a job or a business around it. Whew, life can be crazy. But anyway, so I wrote that book. And then what I did was I sent a copy of the book to Entrepreneur Magazine and Home-Based Business Opportunities and Small Business Opportunities, all those business magazines that are out there that you can find on the newsstands. I sent a copy of it to all of them. Wrote a little cover letter, who I was. Here's a copy of my book that I wrote, because they're always doing articles in there on how to start this business, how to start that business, this and that. So I sent it to them with the hopes that they might like it and might want to, write a little bit about it in the magazine. Guess what? They did. They liked it. They loved it. And 3 different magazines wrote an article about me and wrote about the business, what I did, what I accomplished, and had a call to action at the end of it on how you could order that book. Oh my gosh, I was not prepared for what happened next. I started getting orders after orders after orders for my book. I had to go on Office Max, order more, 100 more, 200 more, 300 more, 500 more. I was